This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to Reality Bites. We bring you this episode from Jodhpur in western Rajasthan. Jodhpur is among the major Indian cities close to the Pakistan border. It is home to a big army and air base, both of which, as the army chief made clear this week, are standing by for war. But in this episode, we will track another dimension of the India-Pakistan relationship and bring you yet one more example of what an entangled web it weaves. At every street corner in Jodhpur, army trucks and troops are omnipresent, almost as common a sight on the roads today as is typically Rajasthani auto rickshaw. And from above comes the relentless roar of Indian Air Force planes, flying too high for the eye to spot, except occasionally. Like everywhere else in the country, the possibility of war is being taken seriously on the western border. But it could be that in this ancient city of Jodhpur, history is also turning full circle. It is an irony of our times, but as the clouds of conflict between India and Pakistan hang over these skies, hidden away in the mohallas and gullies of western Rajasthan are thousands who are still Pakistani citizens. Either that or they belong to no state at all. We don't believe it at first, but then at the house of a social activist in the heart of Jodhpur, we meet this man, who's trekked down hundreds of kilometers from the border. He tells us that back in Barmer, there are hundreds of hapless families who crossed over from Pakistan but are still not recognized as Indian.
करें क्या पाकिस्तान से यहाँ आए तो सेटल होने के लिए अभी तक ये समस्या है 50 साल से हम कह रहे हैं हमारे को बस ये सुविधा ही नहीं हो रही है अब सरकार से क्या उम्मीद करें हमारे लोगों की हालत ख़राब होगी आर्थिक स्थिति कमज़ोर शहर में जा नहीं सके अनपढ़ अफसर को समझा नहीं सके
Our curiosity is ignited and so begins our journey. We drive out of the city and head west, past the crowded bazaars and the ubiquitous Rajasthan camel, till we hit sandstone country, stark and barren. For miles we can see nothing but pale pink stone. An almost ominous silence hangs over the quarry. Perhaps it's a metaphor for the stories that will follow. As we stare out at an abandoned rail track, we can't help but think about the history that has travelled across this landscape. It was to escape the dry scrub and stone terrain that thousands of people, mostly Hindus, clambered onto camels or simply took to foot to cross over into Pakistan, where the fields were greener. This was much before partition, and geography made it simple. Across from Barmer was the Tharparkar district of Sindh. The border of Jaisalmer touched the district of Rahim Yar Khan in Punjab. And the Bikaner border embraced Bahawalpur, also in Punjab. But when the war broke out, it was time to take the same route back. After the 65 war, an estimated 15,000 people came back into Rajasthan. Another 70,000 are said to have followed after the 71 war. And since then, the numbers have continued to pile up. But there is no accurate data available on just how many. Rough estimates by NGOs say, all in all, 20,000 people in Rajasthan have made India their home, but are not Indian citizens. The trickle of refugees from Pakistan hasn't stopped even now. It was easier in the older days when the border between Rajasthan and Pakistan was porous and you could simply walk across the sands. But till today, scores of people have continued to enter the legal way on a Pakistani passport, and then they've simply never gone back. We turn off the road till we're on a barely motorable track. For a while there's no sign of habitation, and then through the dust, the outlines of a stone hut take shape. We're at Abhil Basti, a new settlement that sprang up only a few years ago when 20 families made their way back from Pakistan. Every family in this Bhil settlement here has migrated from Pakistan in the last 10 to 15 years. Not one man we've met so far has acquired Indian citizenship. In this present environment, being a Pakistani passport holder in India evokes suspicion
hostility, and constant interrogation. No surprise then that it took us a long time to persuade anybody to show us their Pakistani passports.
We'd initially suspected of being intelligence agents from the CID, constant visitors at this abjectly poor settlement of Pakistani citizens. It's only with the intervention of Hindu Singh Soda, the social activist who's accompanied us, that the villagers begin to trust us. Hindu Singh himself was 15 when he camel-backed his way from Pakistan in 1971. The 71 refugees were probably the best off because of a pact between Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Not so those who have come back in the midst of ever-increasing hostility between India and Pakistan.
परेशानी तो बड़ी है। सबसे पहली बात तो ये है कि अभी जंग के हालात में तो और भी बदतर है, लेकिन उससे पहले अगर आप देखें तो पासपोर्ट के जो माध्यम से यहाँ पर लोग आए हैं उनके 20-20 साल से नागरिकता नहीं मिली है। तो बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस है और उसकी वजह इनका एक तो ब्यूरोक्रेटिक बंगलिंग है, बहुत एकदम लाल फीताशाही, और फिर पाकिस्तानी का जो ठप्पा है वो निश्चित रूप से और भी देरी करता है। जो कायदा कानून है उसके हिसाब से भी उनको ठीक से नहीं दिया जाता है।
One man finally shows us his Pakistani passport. It's scheduled to expire next month.
ख़त्म हो जाएंगे तो हम नागरिकता के लिए फार्म भरेंगे और नागरिकता लेंगे।
नहीं तो इसको एक्सटेंड भी तो कराना पड़ेगा।
इतने पैसे नहीं है हमारे पास जो हम इनको फिर नए करवाएं।
कितना पैसा लगता है?
पैसा तकरीबन इस पे जो भी 3000 लग ही जाता है।
दिल्ली जाना पड़ेगा?
दिल्ली जाना पड़ेगा।
तो एक्सटेंड नहीं कराएंगे आप?
नहीं कराएंगे।
तो फिर तो आप ना यहाँ के ना वहाँ के।
नहीं, एक्सटेंड इसलिए नहीं करवाएंगे कि हमें नागरिकता लेनी, हमें वापस नहीं जाना।
The law says a refugee from Pakistan must live in India for at least 5 years before he can be entitled to an Indian nationality. The complex snail-paced legal process bewilders them. For them, they've simply come back to the land their forefathers said was home.
हम पहले हमारे जो जितने भी बुजुर्ग लोग थे वो यहीं रहते थे। जब काल बहुत ज़्यादा पड़ा तो खाने पीने को कोई चीज़ नहीं मिलती थी, तो इसलिए वो काल की वजह से फिर वो पाकिस्तान में गए। तो बाद में वो बंटवारा हो गया, ये तो नहीं उनको मालूम था ये कि बंटवारा हो जाएगा। बंटवारे के बाद वो फिर वहीं रह गए, तो बाद में आने नहीं दिया, तारबंदी हो गई। तारबंदी के बाद फिर इन्हें पासपोर्ट बनवाए, पासपोर्ट बनवा कर फिर हम यहाँ आ गए हैं। अब हमारे लोगों को आए होंगे 15-15 साल भी हुए हैं, फिर भी कोई नागरिकता नहीं मिली अभी तक।
We can't help being struck by the surrealness of it all in this poorest of poor villages. Not far from here, the Indian Army is preparing for a possible war. In fact, from where we are sitting, we can see a military radar staring down at us. And here on the rocks, 2 Pakistani passports glisten in the sun. The prospect of a war has made an already uncertain existence more fraught with danger. And most here have begun to feel that the green on the passport does not matter. Today, they are neither Pakistani nor Indian, but caught instead in the proverbial no man's land.
हमारे में तो ऐसे हो गया जैसे वो कहते हैं ना, आसमान से गिरा खजूर में अटका। तो अब ना ही तो हम तो ज़मीन पर भी पाँव नहीं लग रहे, तो हम क्या करेंगे और क्या कर सकते हैं।